And welcome to the K-Files. We have with us this morning, as I said earlier, Captain Jeff Sherrod from the Nash County Sheriff's Office. Good morning.
Good morning.
And J.P. Barnes, my
Good morning.
sidekick,
Good
or
morning.
I'm his sidekick now. He's getting his own guest and doing it when I'm out, and he just does a great job, and I just am so appreciative of you, J.P., for last year, for being with us again. And here we are again, 2024, so...
Well, I enjoy it, and my friends who come on, I mean, we enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, we appreciate the opportunity to come on and help you out when you need us.
Well, I appreciate that. Don't enjoy it too much. I might let you do it. But anyway, no. All right, Jeff. But anyway, do we have any new cases?
Not any new cases, knock on wood.
That's good.
That's good for
always
us.
a good answer when we hear that.
Most definitely. But unfortunately, there's people that have new cases already in the first of the year, so
Yes.
crime is not going to slow down, unfortunately, and
That's
just
right.
hopefully we can stay on top of it.
That's right. Well, let's talk about a case that you want to talk about this morning.
Yeah, I wanted to bring back up Latesha McNair. Tomorrow, 2 weeks from tomorrow, will be the 23rd year anniversary for her going missing. She went missing in January 2001 from the city of Rocky Mount. Rocky Mount investigators started looking for her, tried to find her, and then 6 months later, her skull was found in a cemetery outside of Red Oak. At that time, the Nash County Sheriff's Office got involved, and then Rocky Mount investigators worked together with us and worked every detail and lead that we could. At that time, wasn't able to pinpoint anything significant, and then 8 years later, a man and his son were riding four-wheelers out in the woods and happened to stumble across the rest of her body. It's a case we opened about 2 years ago. I work on it when I get a chance, and got some interviews lined up in the future when things slow down a little bit. But it's just that Leticia was a special needs person.
Right.
And she didn't bother anybody. All the interviews I've ever done says that she didn't bother anybody. She was kind of a happy-go-lucky girl.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I would just love for some tips to come in and to be able to help us solve this case. As I said, January the 17th will be 23 years that this case has been going on. And I know that the family needs closure. And as I said earlier, the family had to live through this twice. They lived through the fact that she was discovered and determined her death, cause of death was a homicide, and then they lived through that, and then 7 years later, the guys riding the four-wheelers finding the rest of her body, so then they have to turn around and live through it again. So I would love to give that family some closure. I talk to them right regularly. Her brother calls me, and you know, and they just want some closure, and
Sure they do.
I just wish we could give it to them.
Well, you know, I've said before, I have spoken with one of her teachers, and her teacher just said she was just the sweetest girl, would not hurt anybody. And so naturally, you know, a teacher of special needs children, they become dear to them, and she would like nothing more for this than for this case to be solved. So anyway, it's just a shame, and hopefully y'all will push through and we can get some information that will solve the case.
I would love to. You know, as I said, when we first reopened this case, I went back and read all the interviews that they did back in 2001, and you know, all the neighbors and stuff said that she was just always smiling, playing, and things of that nature. So it just, you know, it's just one of those cases where it sounds like an innocent person was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right.
And like it would just do me good, and hopefully the family some good if we could just get some tips and close this case. 23 years is a long time not to know what happened to your family member.
That's exactly right.
And I'm sure that they from the conversations I've had with the family, they want more closure than anything. Yes, they want to see somebody held responsible, but I think they just want the closure part of it so they can
Right.
try to move on in life and not have to worry about well, I don't know what happened to my sister 20-some years ago.
Yes.
So hopefully some people will give us a call. Please call Capt with Fighting Crime. Use the Rocky Mountain Texas tip. Use Crime Stoppers. Use whatever means you have to be able
Right.
to call and give us a tip and stay anonymous. And as you've said many times on this show, that Team Cold Case has up to $15,000 in reward money that we can pay out, and we would love to start the new year out with a tip that we paid out.
Well, you know, everybody knows something about, you know, I mean, somebody knows something about every case. And somebody needs to come forward, give the family closure, collect some money, collect some cash. We'll give it to you in cash in a couple of days, just 48 hours. You won't have to wait for the case to go to court. It is upon arrest. It can't get any simpler than that.
Yeah.
And they can also call the sheriff's office, and what number would they call for that?
Just call 252-459-4121 and just ask to speak to me, and they get you in touch with me.
Just ask for Captain Sherrod. So hopefully somebody out there knows something, and you will come forward and do what's right for Latesha McNair. Okay, well, and you know, she was very young. How old was she?
I think she was 21.
Well, you know, she was older than some of the children I have seen, but lately we have seen a lot of cases with kids. Have y'all seen all these cases with kids?
I made a post on Facebook, ironically, day before yesterday, talking about, you know, young kids committing
world?
violent crime,
Oh, yeah.
murder, things like that. I mean, the legislature needs to address this. Kids need, especially these violent crimes, these violent criminals at young. The legislature needs to modify the law to start holding these young kids, because they're not kids, okay?
Yeah.
More accountable for their actions than what they're doing.
Exactly.
To send a message.
And
I mean,
look at the kids that are dying. Look at the fentanyl case in Roanoke Rapids.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I mean, you leave your fentanyl, it's bad enough that you have it, but you leave your fentanyl out and the baby gets it.
Yeah.
Yep,
The little kid gets it. You know, kids go through so much. Some kids we just don't know what kids go through.
Well, I mean, that's I've been doing this a long time, and that's the one case that always bothers me more than anything is when it's a child.
Right.
As you said, the Roanoke Rapids incident where the child got hold of the grandmother's drugs.
Yeah.
And then sometime this week I read in Raleigh where the father was charged with child abuse.
Oh, yeah.
And then the baby just died, so now they've charged him with murder. And those cases are the cases I just don't completely understand. Why harm a child? I mean, it's a child. What drives you to the point where you need to harm somebody that can't defend herself?
Exactly.
And you know, and what JP's talking about, you know, it seems to me that here lately, people who are doing some of the most serious crimes are basically teenagers. The guy that shot and killed the
Greensboro police
cop,
officer.
Oh, gosh.
he was only 18
years old.
Yeah,
Over nothing.
Yeah, over a case of beer. I mean, it's crazy.
it is.
But unfortunately, that's just the way it is right now, that a lot of young people are, you know, thinking that they need to be a part of a gang or whatever case it
Yeah.
is, and they're doing these violent crimes. And hopefully, as JP said, the legislators will do something to hold them accountable. But I will
hope
say
so.
that if it is a violent crime, most of the local court systems are bound on them over to Superior Court anyway.
But look at the situation in Greensboro. I was watching this morning. They're saying they're not 100% sure they're going to seek the death penalty.
Why
We're
not?
to 18. That's exactly
Why
right.
not?
Right out of the gate, they're saying that may not even be something they look at. Why? Because
Well,
he's
I hate
18.
to say this, but how many more 18-year-olds might look at that and say, oh my gosh, I might die. They might put me to death if I do this.
There's no
How
question who
many
did it. It was all
crimes might
captured
that
on video.
deter If
know.
they would set the example.
Yeah,
I mean, the guy did it.
he sure did.
Broad daylight, he did it, and he did the crime. He's got to do the time. That's just the way I feel about it. But and his accomplices as well. So anyway, it's sad. It really is. Well, thank you so much, Captain
No problem.
Sherrod, for being with us this morning. We always appreciate what y'all do at the Nash County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you.
And here, I forgot what the case was not long ago, but I said, oh my gosh, they would just own it. And you always are, and we just greatly appreciate what y'all do.
Absolutely.
We thank you. Sheriff Stone keeps us rolling, so
Yes.
we stay busy.
That's right. Okay, we'll be right back right after this. And welcome back to the K-Files. Glad you're with us this morning. We've got some cases that we're going to go over. Don't forget that we have talked about Teen Cold Case, which is the nonprofit that the K-Files operates under. The nonprofit raises money so that you will give us tips and we can pay you. It's that simple. So if you're just tuning in and you don't know what the K-Files is all about, we need your help. That's what it's about. We are asking for your help. We need the public. Law enforcement says all the time, and Captain Sherrod would say it as well, that was just here. You are the best resource law enforcement has. I mean, they really are.
That's right. Yeah.
The public. Because somebody knows something about every case. And if you know something, see something, say something.
Well, just like anytime anybody gets together, they're going to say, hey, man, did you hear about this happen?
Yes.
And in that same conversation, they're going to say, well, I heard that it was so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so.
Exactly.
Well, when that person tells another, you never know the tip information that you get, even though it might be secondhand. Somebody might be really sharing a piece of information with you that law enforcement doesn't even know.
Right.
Share that hearsay. Share that tip.
Yeah, they want the information.
Yeah.
If it leads to a dead end, they don't care.
That's right.
They had rather have it than not have it. So don't worry about it being secondhand, third hand. Just if you hear a name or you hear what happened in a case, it will be definitely confidential. So
I do want to share something this morning.
Okay.
On the way in this morning, I received a text from Tim Askew, who was my sergeant on the patrol. He co-hosts with me from time to time.
Yes.
Tim said, please keep former Nash County Sheriff Dick Jenkins in your prayers. He is at Duke. He's having some heart issues this morning. So folks, if you would, please take a moment, say a prayer for former Nash County Sheriff Dick Jenkins, retired major on the Highway Patrol, great guy. He was good to Nash County.
Yes.
Keep him in your thoughts and prayers today.
Well, I will certainly do that, and I hope you will too. I thought the world of Dick Jenkins, and
Good people, good family.
Think the world of Dick Jenkins. When I see him, I just hug him, and I do appreciate his tenure on the Sheriff's Department and the Highway Patrol and his public safety life. So, anyway.
Yeah, keep him in your thoughts and prayers, please.
Absolutely.
The first case we're going to talk about today, Gary Lamont Robbins. This case is from February 10th, 2007. First responders were dispatched to an accident at Rex and Vance Street in Rocky Mount. When they arrived on the scene, they found a van that had been wrecked. Gary Lamont Robbins was inside the van. EMS pulled him out, and as they were putting him on the stretcher, they noticed that he had been shot multiple times. He ultimately died of his injuries. Again, this case is from February 10th, 2007. Intersection, the area of Rex and Vance Street in Rocky Mount. It sounds like he was probably shot. Who knows, maybe while in the van. And he crashed as a result of, being shot or loss of blood or loss of consciousness or something like that. So folks, if you happen to have been in the area of Rex and Vance Street, February 10th, 2007, or you heard something about this case, please text a tip, reach out to Crime Stoppers, Fighting Crime. Please share any tip that you might have about this case.
There's the Twin County Crime Stoppers number. This is a Rocky Mount case.
It is.
Rex and Vance Street is over close to Branch Street, Clark Street. That vicinity. So if you know anything, I know somebody does. Gary Lamont Robbins did not deserve this. No matter if he was a bad guy or not,
That's right.
he didn't deserve this. So please give his family some closure. He's a young man, and I know he has family that would like to get closure. So, all right.
The next case has very limited information. A lot of these Wilson cases are like 1 or 2 sentences.
Right.
But we're going to do the best we can with the information that we have. Anthony I'm not sure if that's DeAndre
Looks like
Jones.
DeAndre to me.
Anthony DeAndre Jones, May 12th, 2007. On May 12th, 2007, officers responded to 1704 Birchwood Drive in Wilson, North Carolina in reference to a shooting. Once they arrived, they found Anthony Jones deceased outside of the residence. And that's all the information we have. Anthony DeAndre Jones, 1704 Birchwood Drive, Southeast in Wilson. Law enforcement responded in reference to a shooting, and when they arrived, they found Jones deceased outside of the residence.
2007 case. It's been quite a while, but still, if you know something, you know it. You know, you should remember it. So if somebody said something or whatever, please come forward. Okay, we'll move on since we didn't have much information about that case.
The next case is Shannon Therese Hedgepeth. Shannon Therese Hedgepeth. This case is from July 2nd, 2007. Hedgepeth, who was 29, was found at 4:08 a.m. at 214 North Harris Street in Rocky Mount when firefighters were extinguishing a house fire. He was lying on the floor with a blanket over him and blindfolded. The autopsy showed multiple blunt force injuries to his head and that he may well have been alive but unconscious when the home was set on fire. His death was ruled a homicide.
See, here's another one of these cases. We just talked about a case like this where the house was set on fire after they did something to the victim. Terrible.
A lot of times when you see a car that's been burned that was involved in a crime, a house that's been set afire because a crime occurred inside, it is what I would call a seasoned criminal.
Yes.
They know that they're trying to destroy as much evidence as possible to hide that homicide, that larceny, that motor vehicle, fingerprints, things like that. They do this. So this is what I would call a seasoned criminal that pulled this off.
Yes.
And I mean a violent criminal, bound, gagged, blindfolded, whatever you want to call it, beat him in the head, set the house on fire. Autopsy says that he was alive when the house was set on fire.
Wow.
And this person is out here walking amongst us.
Can you imagine being alive, whether he was unconscious, conscious?
I don't know how they would determine
conscious, that. You know, I don't know, but imagine being halfway conscious and the house catching on fire and somebody setting the house on fire. But that's bad. That is just bad to me.
Evil is real.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it is. Really is. So if you know anything about this case, please help.
This next case, Tillette Princess Davis, is from August 28th, 2007. Officers responded to 600 Gay Street in Wilson in reference to a female lying in an area behind White's Tire Service. Once they arrived, they found Tillette Davis deceased after she had been reported missing earlier that morning. Again, it's a Wilson County case or City of Wilson case, limited information. August 28th, 2007, 600 Gay Street, downtown Wilson, behind White's Tire Service.
Now, where exactly is White's Tire Service again?
White's Tire Service is kind of on right off Martin Luther King. It kind of runs off of 301. If
Okay.
you were to turn off 301 like you're going downtown to the courthouse,
Right.
White's Tire Service is going to be over on your right.
Okay,
It's going to be that area.
okay. If you know anything, please say something. We didn't have a lot of information about this, but anyway, if you know something, say something. The next one we have a lot of information
do.
about.
A lot of information here. This case is from December 21st, 2007. Leona Johnson and Deborah, I guess it's Schreiben.
Yeah, I guess so.
Leona Johnson, who was 50 years old at the time, was a secretary for the Rocky Mount Police Department's Uniform Division and had been for 3 years. When she failed to show up for work, Rocky Mount Police went to her home, which was located at 1247 Compass Creek Drive in Rocky Mount, to check on her well-being. When they arrived, they found broken glass in the back door of the residence. Police made entry into the home and found Leona Johnson and her friend Deborah Schreiben, 44 years old at the time, both shot to death. Deborah's son, Devin Schreiben, was also in the home and shot, but had been rushed to the hospital where he remained in critical condition and he ultimately recovered. Police say that the shooting happened somewhere between 3:45 a.m. and 9:45 a.m. the morning of the 21st. All three were found shot in 3 different locations inside the residence. Police stated that it was not a random act, and they likely knew their killer. In September 2008, Devin Schreiben was staying at Howler's Motel in Rocky Mount with his brother Antonio Matthews. Antonio shot his brother and killed him. Devin was the only witness to the murders on Compass Creek just 10 months prior. In 2011, he went to trial, and the judge declared a mistrial. The DA's witness saw 2 people leave the scene. However, only Antonio Matthews was ever charged with first-degree murder. The DA planned to charge him again, but with second-degree murder. Matthews decided to plead guilty to manslaughter in 2012 and was sentenced to 5 years in prison. However, he was released 8 months later and put on parole.
Inexcusable. Inexcusable. And this lady worked in the police department. And I remember the chief, because we went and covered this case, filmed and all of that. It was Chief Manley. Chief Manley was there then. He was very bothered by this because Leona Johnson was a fine lady who had worked for the police department for quite some time as a secretary. And it's just unfortunate. Her friend, Deborah Schreiben, I don't know why she was there overnight at her house. I don't know. But her son was apparently who they were after.
Yeah.
That's who they were after, and just killed everybody. But except he recovered. He recovered. But this is just a very unfortunate case. It's terrible. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Sentenced to 5 years and got out, released 8 months later, killed 2 people.
So technically, there's 4 murders here.
Yeah.
4 murders, and 1 person went to jail for 8 months.
This is
what's wrong with the sentencing in North Carolina. This right here.
Yes, exactly. This is inexcusable. Well, anyway, Compass Creek, if you know anything, Compass Creek Drive is right over here off of Gold Rock Road. Right off of Gold Rock Road. 48 Highway. It's one of the streets that turn off right there, close to North Green. So if you know anything, please come forward.
And this sounds like it was going to be a burglary or breaking and entering at night or late in the afternoon or what have you, broken glass. Folks, I don't care if you take it from me. I don't care if you take it from the sheriff. I don't care if you take it with a local gun shop. Please seek out and get trained in the proper use of a handgun to protect yourself and your family.
That's right.
Should something like this unfold or occur at your home. You're sitting in your living room at night, you're watching TV, you're going down the road, whatever. Glass breaks, someone's trying to get in your car, someone's trying to get in your home, someone is inside your home. Please be prepared physically and mentally to protect yourself and protect your family.
Absolutely.
You know how long it took to kill these 3 people or shoot these 3 people in this home? Stop and think about how much time any one of them could have had to retrieve a weapon and protect themselves. Any one of them.
Right.
Sad situation. Bad situation.
It really is. Okay, well, it's time to go to break, get some weather, and we'll be right back with you right after this. Okay, welcome back to the K-Files, and we'll continue our cases as we don't have but so much time left, so we'll get right into it again.
I had been flipping through my book. Seems like we just finished describing the case.
Yes,
so we're down with Carolyn Ransom. Carolyn Ransom. This case is from January 2nd, 2008. Carolyn was found around 9 a.m. by a maintenance man working in the apartment complex on the 900 block of Gregg Court in Rocky Mount. Carolyn had been raped, assaulted, and strangled. Authorities suspect that she may have been killed on New Year's Day.
Wow. What a way to start the year.
900 block of Gregg Court in an apartment complex. If she was found on 1/2/2008 and they think she had been killed on New Year's, so you're talking about she had been there for a day.
Yes.
Found by a maintenance man.
If she lived alone, I mean, it's just lucky that I guess the maintenance man even went in
gone
there
into the
at that time. She could have laid there for days, you know, if he hadn't gone in there. That's really bad. Raped, strangled, assaulted, terrible.
Was this during the time? Wasn't this during the time that Rocky Mount was suspected of having like a so-called serial killer?
2008 was, yes. So you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't his victim strangled as a general rule?
I think so. Some of them, yes.
Well,
yes.
And I'm not saying it is.
It could be related to that. It definitely could.
This next case is from January 12th, 2008. January 12th, 2008. Jameer Whitaker. Jameer Whitaker's life was cut short around 8:30 p.m. when his house was shot at 2805 Pelham Road in Rocky Mount. His father was shot twice and recovered from his injuries. Jameer was shot and died at the hospital. Witnesses saw a person run to a dark green or blue late modeled 4-door Ford Taurus with tinted windows just after the shots were fired. Police say it was an attempted robbery. January 12, 2008, 8:30 p.m., 2805 Pelham Road, Rocky Mount, attempted robbery. 2 people shot, 1 person killed, Jameer Whitaker.
And one of the key witnesses saw a person run to a dark green or blue late model 4-door Ford Taurus. Tinted windows. So there's a description of the vehicle right there that potentially did this. Because that was seen right after the shots were fired. So anyway, attempted robbery. Sad.
I'm getting all of the easy to say names today.
I'm telling you, this one, Fawzi.
Fawzi, Nawas.
Right.
And I apologize if that name's not correct. March 3rd, 2008, officers responded to 705 Black Creek Road Southeast in Wilson in reference to a robbery of a business. The suspects dragged Nawas behind the store and assaulted him. He was able to get back in the store after the assault, and he collapsed. He was transported to Wake Medical Center for treatment, where he later died. It sounds like this, based on this narrative, that March 3rd, 2008, Mr. Nawas was basically beat to death. There's no reference to a weapon of any kind. It just says that he was assaulted.
We've got several cases in this book that were convenient marts, stores. The owners were assaulted, killed. Terrible.
And it does say in the narrative that there was suspect or suspects, so there may have been more than one.
Right.
Bad situation.
It
Folks,
is.
if you know anything from March 3rd, 2008, convenience store, 705 Black Creek Road, Wilson, please pick the phone up, report to local law enforcement. You may know just the smallest tip, and you could help solve this crime.
You know, these are people that are just trying to run a business, trying to make a living.
And a lot of times, foreigner stores are targeted.
They are.
Because, you know, they're seen as easy targets or easy prey. You know, they see it a lot in Durham too. A lot of Hispanic families, their homes are targeted because these Hispanics, they are hesitant to even reach out to law enforcement and report the crime after the fact. You know, and that's sad. That's a shame.
It really is. Well, the next one's kind of a short one. I think we have time for one more.
Okay. This case is from April 2nd, 2008, Ryan Lee. Around 11:30 p.m., the Rocky Mount Police Department was dispatched to a person that had been shot on Clark Street in Rocky Mount. Upon arrival, they found Ryan Lee, who was 16 years old, had succumbed to his injuries. After investigating it, it appeared that Lee was shot on Branch Street and had ran 2 blocks to his home, where he collapsed and died.
He didn't make it back to his home. 16 years old. You know, and so many of these cases are involving drugs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's speculation on my part, but most of them are involving drugs.
I would say nothing to do with the person itself. All crime, or almost all crime, whether it be B&E, whether it be murder, almost every crime that occurs in some shape, form, or fashion, directly or indirectly, is drug related.
That's right. Either they didn't get paid for the drugs, or they didn't produce the drugs that they were supposed to.
They're stealing to support
or they're
a habit.
stealing to support, trying to get money, breaking and entering to get money to support the habit. So you're exactly right.
I've never heard tell of a case of somebody's house getting broken into and they made an arrest and got him in the interview room. He's like, look, I couldn't make my mortgage payment this month, so I broke in a home or I stole this loaf of bread because I couldn't feed my children.
Right.
Yeah, you don't hear tell of that.
No, you don't. Well, anyway, that's all for today of the K-Files. Hope you'll join us back next week. Don't forget, Friday night at 7 o'clock, you can watch this again. You can watch it anytime you want to on YouTube. If you want to send somebody to, if you think you might know somebody that knows something, you might want to send them to the YouTube link. WHIG-TV YouTube page, K-Files, is right there. So,
and they can get paid up to $15,000 in cash.
It's a lot of money. Sure is, in cash right then. So you're right, JP. All right, make it a great day, everybody, and we'll see you back next Thursday.